What's up YouTube, Jock217 here, and we are back with another Kingdom Hearts Top 10 Countdown. When it comes to the Kingdom Hearts series, there's always one topic that is discussed at least once, and that topic is the different types of Keyblades that exist in the series. Some Keyblades get a lot of praise due to them being powerful in battle, useful for grinding, useful for speedrunning, or any other hidden properties that a Keyblade can contain. And then there are those Keyblades whose only purpose is to do absolutely nothing but be a complete waste of megabytes. So today I will be discussing what I think are the top 10 most useless Keyblades in the entire series. Before we continue, let me get some things cleared up first. First of all, just because a Keyblade sucks in battle does not mean that it is useless. There are a lot of Keyblades out there that are pretty useful even though they suck in battle. Sweet Memories is a prime example of this, so if you're expecting Sweet Memories to make this list, then you got another thing coming. Sweet Memories may have gotten nerfed in 2.5, but that doesn't mean that it is no longer useful. Secondly, default weapons do not count. Default weapons have to be used at the beginning of the game, and plus it is absolutely inevitable for default weapons to be replaced. There's always going to be that one weapon that'll show up and make you stop using the default weapon. That's just how RPGs work. So putting the default weapons in this countdown because it gets easily replaced would just not be right. Hell, some of the default weapons are better than some of the Keyblades you get later on in the game anyway. I'm also not including any of the Keyblade cards from Chain of Memories because even though each different Keyblade has different attributes, for the most part the difference is not that significant, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the slates involving attack cards have fixed attack power regardless of what attack cards you used. That is what I have witnessed for myself, and if I am wrong about that, then please let me know in the comments. About 90% of people who play this game use slates anyway, so if that really is the case, then I would have to include all the attack cards in the game, which would then fill up all of my slots, making this countdown boring. So for that reason, I'm not including attack cards from Chain of Memories. And finally, I am not going to include any of the Keyblades from 358 out of 2 days because 1, there's a lot of Keyblades in that game, and 2, each Keyblade in that game comes with its own unique fighting style. Some are great for ground combos, some are great for aerial attacks, some are great for magic, some are great for attacking quickly, and so on and so forth. Everybody has their own fighting style, so including any Keyblades from days on this list because it doesn't suit my style of fighting wouldn't be right either. And one more thing, because I know somebody's gonna mention it, joke weapons such as the wooden sword, struggle bat, and umbrella do not count. It has to be a Keyblade for Christ's sake. Well viewers, with every countdown comes honorable mentions. However, from here on out, I'm not going to be talking about them in the video, so that way the video won't be too long. Also, for this particular subject, there is just too damn many honorable mentions. So instead, I'm just going to show them all in one quick montage, so pay attention. These are the honorable mentions. If I missed a Keyblade, or if you're wondering why a certain Keyblade made this list or was an honorable mention in the first place, we can discuss it in the comments below. So, without further ado, let's get started then, shall we? These are, in my opinion, the top 10 Keyblades in Kingdom Hearts that you will most likely never use. Coming in at number 10 is Sweet Stack from Birth by Sleep. This Keyblade has 6 strength, 4 magic, and can be obtained by creating all the possible ice cream flavors in Disney Town. I'm willing to bet money right now that about 80% of you didn't even know that this Keyblade existed in the first place. This Keyblade is pretty much useless because you can't go for it until after you beat Neverland, and at that point the story already gives you an excellent Keyblade, which is more than enough to beat the final boss. There's no point in using it as Terra because he gets a Keyblade with a retarded amount of strength already, and there's no point in using it as Aqua because she is a magic user. If this Keyblade benefits anybody, it would be Vin because this Keyblade is higher in strength than the one the story gives him, and this Keyblade allows every single hit to be critical. Every single hit. So it does have some use to it, and it doesn't take too long to get, but in all honesty, we can get better Keyblades in the Mirage Arena anyway, so unless you are a completionist, I would skip it because to me it's not really worth it, especially since critical hits don't do that much more damage in this game anyway. Up next is Darkgnaw from Birth by Sleep. This Keyblade has 5 strength, 2 magic, and can be obtained from the Mirage Arena by beating the boss at Arena Level 5, aka the monster with the book. The only way I can think of this Keyblade being useful is if you decide to go for it before going to the first world, since you can obtain it at the beginning of the game. However, doing so will not be an easy fate since the Mirage Arena is not a joke. If you try to go for this early, prepare to die a couple of times unless you are some sort of Kingdom Hearts god. Other than that, this Keyblade is useless because, let's be honest, most of us don't go to the Mirage Arena until we are near the end of the game. At that point, we will already have Chaos Ripper, making Darkgnaw completely useless. The only time you will use this Keyblade is if you went for it early on. Other than that, you will not use this Keyblade, but you will obtain it on the way to No Heart and Armor of Ericus, so at least you get to enjoy the thrill of witnessing the uselessness of the Megabyte wasting Darkgnaw. Filling in the 8th slot is Winner's Proof from Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Good news! This Keyblade has the strongest magic stat in the game! Now for the bad news. You can't obtain it at level 1 unless you use stat boosts, you gain no experience whatsoever while you are using it, and it can be a pain in the butt to obtain. This Keyblade is obtained by beating all of the Mushroom Heartless's challenges. If you attempt these challenges and the mushrooms simply drop items for you, guess what? That's not enough! You have to score high enough to the point where the mushrooms shoot fireworks in the air. Once they do that, you don't have to do the challenge again. There are 12 mushrooms total that need to be beaten, and I can guarantee you guys right now, there are 2 mushrooms that are guaranteed to piss you off. The one in front of Yensid's Tower, and the one in front of the Haunted Mansion in Twilight Town. Those 2 challenges can burn in hell and get butt raped by Satan! Anyway, once all 12 mushrooms are beaten, then we have to go back to Hollow Bastion and obtain your Keyblade there. Trust me, this Keyblade is not worth getting and frustrating yourself over unless you are a completionist or you are going for the trophy. Other than that, this Keyblade pretty much has no use whatsoever. I only found one use for this Keyblade, and that is this.
It's over. Let's go.
Okay, fine, you can actually do that with any Keyblade, but the more magic you have, the easier that is to pull off. Filling in the 7th slot is Victory Line from Birth by Sleep. This Keyblade has 4 strength, 2 magic, and has long reach. This Keyblade is obtained after beating all 4 of the Rumble races in Disney Town. Yes, it has to be in Disney Town, not the Mirage Arena. Here's something I don't understand. Why couldn't they just give us this Keyblade after we beat the world? Why do we have to go out of our way and beat all 4 races to get a Keyblade that increases our strength by 1 point when I could easily just go to Olympus and beat it to get the Keyblade that increases my strength by 2 in the amount of time it takes me to beat the races? If you're gonna make us go out of our way to get a Keyblade, at least give us some decent stats! This Keyblade gets easily replaced by future storyline Keyblades that you can easily obtain while still attempting to get this one. But if for some reason you obtain it before going on, it will help you out a little bit in some future boss fights due to its reach. But still, in all honesty, you can easily replace this Keyblade with Mark of the Hero and you would be fine. So unless you are a completionist or love racing, skip this Keyblade, it's not worth getting in my opinion. Rolling in the 6th slot is Sweet Dreams from Dream Drop Distance. This Keyblade has 14 strength, 12 magic, and it has both long reach and a high critical hit rate. Wow, Jock, this Keyblade sounds really good. Why is this on the list? Well, for starters, in this game, magic is more broken than strength due to a famous spell known as Balloon. They're gonna nerf it in 2.8, I'm telling you. Anyways, because magic is more broken, we are gonna want a Keyblade that boosts our magic. This Keyblade decreases our magic, so we don't want that unless you decide to not use Balloon. But the main reason why this Keyblade is useless is because of the process of obtaining this Keyblade. This Keyblade is obtained by beating all of the Flick Rush matches in the arena. For those of you who haven't played Dream Drop Distance yet, Flick Rush is a minigame that is pretty much Chain of Memories on steroids. If you have the right Dream Meters, then it should go smoothly for you for the most part. However, some of these matches can just drag on and on and on. Especially the last cup that we have to do. That last cup is just ridiculously annoying. The monsters in there are just not fair. They will constantly spam star cards, preventing you from doing anything. It's like fighting Axel in Chain of Memories, and every time you try to use a card, he breaks you immediately. That crap is very annoying. You guys starting to see why this Keyblade is useless yet? You can beat the game already and maybe even beat Julius and get Ultimate Weapon before you get this Keyblade. In all honesty, going for this Keyblade is not worth the trouble in my book. But if you have enough patience to go for it before going to the world that never was, and if you don't use Balloon, then yes, this Keyblade will benefit you. Otherwise, skip this one. Number 5 is End of Pain from Dream Drop Distance. This Keyblade has 14 strength, 16 magic, and increases your critical hit rate but reduces chances of reality shift. This Keyblade ties with Ultimate Weapon at having the strongest magic stat in the game. Now, if you really wanted to, you could obtain this Keyblade before fighting the final boss. Well, Chuck, if that really is the case, why is it useless? Because I am warning you viewers right here, right now. Obtaining this Keyblade will be the most tedious thing you will ever do in the entire series. So how do we obtain it? Get a pen and paper ready because it's going to take a bit for me to explain. Here we go. While playing the game, you might have run into something called special portals. In order to obtain this Keyblade, you have to beat all of the special portals. Sounds easy enough at first, but it is not that simple. This game has a total of 7 worlds, and each world has a special portal that you can do. Now I know exactly what you're thinking. Oh, okay, all I gotta do is just go to every world and beat them, right? Again, it is not that simple. See, here's the thing. There isn't just one special portal in each world. Every single world in this game has 6 special portals, except for the world that never was, which only contains 3. Now, here's where the tedious part kicks in. You can't do all of these portals all at once. You can only do one special portal in each world per drop. This means that once you have beaten the special portals that you can beat in one drop, you then have to switch characters and do it again. If you are trying to get this Keyblade with both Sora and Riku, this task will be twice as tedious than it already is. If you're trying to get this Keyblade with just one character, then all you gotta do is switch characters and immediately switch after that so you can continue where you left off. Also, I should mention to you guys right now that some of these special portals are not, I repeat, not easy to do. If you try to do these portals early, some of these enemies will end up kicking your ass unless you are some sort of god or are over leveled already. If you want to speed up this process a little bit, have some mega flares and balloon spells ready. Trust me, it helps. I'm not gonna lie to you, I had to use a guide for this because I had no idea where the special portals were since the locations of them change every time you drop. But wait 1 minute, there is one last fact that makes this process so tedious to the point to where you will literally say screw it. And that fact is that the special portals do not appear in any order. In other words, the portal that appears is random, meaning that a special portal that you have done already can appear again. Which means you will have to drop over and over and over and over and over and over until you finally get that special portal you haven't done yet. I spent over 10 hours trying to get this crap. Trust me, this is for your own good. Do not go for this Keyblade. It is not worth it. The only way it will be worth it is if you have an extraordinarily large amount of patience, because yes, this Keyblade will help you out in the final battles and for the super bosses since it has the strongest magic stat. Other than that, skip this Keyblade because by the time you get this Keyblade, you will probably already have beaten the game, beaten all the super bosses, leveled up all the way to level 99, and watched the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy by the time you are done. Trust me. Just beat Julius to get Ultimate Weapon and move on. Save yourself from the super massively long task. It is not worth it. Up next is Unbound from Dream Drop Distance. This Keyblade has the highest strength stat in the game and has really long reach. Why is it useless? Because you obtain it after beating all of the souped up versions of the storyline bosses, which are pretty much the hardest super bosses in the game anyway. At that point, there's no purpose in having this Keyblade because there's nothing left to kill. If this Keyblade has any use, it's to use against Julius because it is indeed possible to obtain this Keyblade before fighting Julius. But most people, like myself, fight Julius before the souped up story bosses because 1, Julius is easier, and 2, we get Ultimate Weapon from him which will definitely help out against the souped up story bosses. If there was one more super boss in this game, then it would have some use. But since the only super bosses in this game are the ones you have to beat to obtain this thing, this Keyblade serves no purpose other than to be a waste of megabytes. Getting the bronze medal for the most useless Keyblade is No Name from Birth by Sleep. This Keyblade is the strongest magic-based Keyblade in the game, has a high critical hit rate, and is the perfect Keyblade for Aqua. How do we get this Keyblade, you may ask? By defeating Mysterious Figure. Do I really need to say anything else? If you can beat the hardest boss in the series, then you don't need anything else. You know guys, when I was asking around for ideas on which Keyblades were the most useless in the series, one Keyblade always came up, and that Keyblade was Ultima Weapon. I was already planning on putting Ultima Weapon on my countdown, but I only wanted to pick one game because Ultima Weapon can be helpful in some of these games. So, which game am I going to choose? Alrighty then viewers, my game of choice is Recoded. Those of you who have been following me since the Stone Age know that I freaking hate Recoded but never knew why. Well, you will finally get your answer, because they made my favorite Keyblade 99% useless. In order to obtain this Keyblade, you have to go to a portal that shows up in Hall of Bastion after you beat the game. Once you are in there, you have to go through 13 floors of hell. However, that's not all. Not only do you have to beat the floors, you also have to beat the bonus challenges that the floor gives you, and you have to wager 50 SP every single time. Getting into pain is the most tedious thing in the series, but in my opinion, getting this Keyblade is the hardest thing to do in the series. Every single floor has souped up enemies, and once you get to the 13th floor, you end up fighting the super boss of this game, which is Bugged Data Roxas. Remember, you have to beat all the challenges in this place, including the one in this fight. If you fail the challenge in this fight, guess what? You gotta do this whole dungeon all over again until you have enough SP to get Ultima Weapon. This is a pretty difficult task to do, and the sad part is, it's not even worth it. Just like Unbound, by the time you get this Keyblade, there is nothing left to kill. Nothing! The only thing you can do is kill Data Roxas again. That is it. Other than that, this Keyblade is completely useless and not worth getting unless you are a completionist or you love Ultima Weapon as much as I do. Alrighty viewers, we are down to the number 1 slot. What Keyblade could possibly be more useless than Recoded Ultima Weapon? Trust me guys, even the entire Kingdom Hearts speedrunning community finds this next Keyblade to be nothing more than a waste of space. So here we are. This is, in my opinion, the most useless Keyblade in the history of Kingdom Hearts until Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. Hidden Dragon! I mean, come on guys, let's be real here. The only time this Keyblade has ever been used is the first time we got it because we were curious about how good it was. And then when we found out it sucked, we immediately replaced it with something else. This Keyblade is the epitome of useless. It's not used in speed runs, it's not used in level 1 runs, it's not used in casual runs, it's not even used to handicap yourself because whenever we want to handicap ourselves, we use Sweet Memories. This Keyblade lowers your strength by 1, increases your magic by 1, and comes with MP Rage. However, this is useless because in the beginning of the game, we aren't really going to be using magic because simply attacking everything and healing when you need to gets the job done. And if that's not enough, we will also be using Drive Forms and Limits as well. So magic doesn't really be used until we get spells like Thunder and Magnet, and at that point, we already have better magic boosting Keyblades anyway. Okay. So it has MP Rage. Like I said, we aren't going to be using magic until we get the better spells like Thunder and Magnet, and also whenever we decide to do a level 1 run, we do our best to not get hit, making MP Rage useless. As for speedrunning this game, strength matters more than magic, so naturally speedrunners don't use this Keyblade at all either. This Keyblade is so bad that a bunch of people have officially voted this Keyblade as the worst Keyblade of all time. It's so useless that if somebody were to get dragged to hell and was forced to fight Satan, all they would have to do is pull out Hidden Dragon and Satan would be killed because he laughed too hard. This Keyblade is by far the biggest waste of megabytes in all of gaming. No Keyblade is more useless in the entire Kingdom Hearts series than Hidden Dragon. Alrighty then guys, that's gonna have to do it for this countdown. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do you guys have an idea for my next countdown? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hammer, smash, and stab that like button and subscribe of course, and I will see you guys next time. See you guys later, be safe, eat Tetashai, don't overdo it.